Hi all and welcome to another video. Today we're going to be breaking down the training, comms, and grenade categories for Star Wars Legion upgrade cards. The next video will be the rest of the generic upgrade cards focusing on command, gear, and ordnance. For the sake of longevity, point cost will not be mentioned, just situations where you would want to take them. Most units can benefit from these cards in some way, and hopefully you learned something new. Starting with the training cards, Tenacity allows you to slightly enhance the damage you are dealing with melee attacks by adding 1 red dice to the pool if you are wounded or your unit has lost a mini. This can be very useful on single operative units to make them hit even harder, and even some of the more dangerous, not single operative units. Hunter lets you gain an aim token if you're attacking a wounded trooper unit. This can be really good in most situations, as re-rolling 2 extra dice is good, as in really lets you get a really strong chance to even finish the unit off to begin with. Duck and Cover lets you add a suppression token while defending, which can give you cover 1 or 2, depending on the situation. For a high courage unit, this can increase your survivability a lot. Up Close and Personal lets you get dodge tokens for ranged attacks performed at range 1 to 2. If you put this on something with Gunslinger or just a very close range weapon, it pays for itself by keeping your unit alive even longer. Into the Fray is a fun way to generate surge tokens for melee units that want to be close to the enemy. And not a lot of things can generate surge tokens super well, so it's a surprisingly good card. Depending on where you place it, you could get 2 to 3 surge tokens on your turn, and that can save your life, as it can surge to defend or do something like that. Protector is an exhaustible card, so it has to be readied. As in, once it's exhausted, you have to recover it. For a Guardian unit, this can keep your main commander or operative alive a little longer by preventing crits from going through to them. It can also be used to protect normal trooper units, but I don't understand why you would do that in most situations, unless you're doing something like maybe an Obi-Wan build to keep everything alive. Overwatch increases your standby range to 1 to 3, which depending on the unit can be really good. Keeping the board zoned out and making it so the enemy has to make a choice on where they want to move is a type of mind game you really want to be playing with them. And standby range 1 to 3 is a lot longer than it seems when you're playing on a board size. If you move someone to the right position, you're just guaranteeing that you're shutting off part of the board to the enemy unless they really want to risk those attacks. So make sure you put it on something that can hit really hard at range. Endurance gives you extra suppression removal, great on someone like Anakin who you never want to be suppressed to avoid his flaw card from being played. It can also be useful on a lot of low courage units. For right now, you don't really want to be throwing it on like your chaff trooper units, but everything else probably would benefit from it somewhat. And the last of the training cards, Situational Awareness gives you Outmaneuver, which lets you cancel crits with dodge tokens. Canceling crits is always good, and this is the most consistent way to get this on your normal trooper units. Offensive Push lets you gain 1 aim token after performing a standard move. After that is exhausted, you cannot use it to gain multiple unless you have a way to recover it halfway through the turn. So it only can get you 1 aim token for 1 standard move, and then it's done. Getting a name token is always good, and it's not a bad upgrade for units that need it but don't have easy access to generation options. Now are the comm cards. HQ Uplink lets you issue an order to yourself. It is exhaustible, however. Having this in your back pocket can be super strong. There are a lot of units that can benefit from activating first, and having that on something is a nice little deterrent to make the enemy plan around it. Hacked comms units let you get a similar effect and is super useful when used against separatist lists as they spread the love everywhere. And I mean, getting an auto order when another enemy unit gets an order at range 1 of you, it's good in a lot of situations. And it also is a good deterrent to stop something you're in melee with from getting an order. Honestly, there's a lot you can do with this. Long Range Comlink is useful for units you want to have orders, but you know will most likely be too far away from any commanders and operatives to receive them, as it lets you get an order regardless of range. You still need line of sight, however. Comms Jammer shuts down orders given to enemy units within range 1. It can be super useful to shut down important units. Also, once again, this is a very good anti-separatist card. Stopping that droid order daisy chain by getting something moved in to break it, and making it so you can focus down those things without them being activated or kind of force your opponent to choose, is really good. Emergency Transponder is once per game token generation buff and can be super useful in certain situations as it increases the lethality, survivability, and reduces suppression on your unit. Now, the biggest problem with this is it is a one-time use, so be careful when you use it and just keep an eye on that. Comms Relay lets you pass an order along. It's very situational compared to the other comm cards. However, in certain circumstances, it can be pretty useful. It depends on your army comp. It might just be a little bit better to toss long range comlink on something. However, this also does that you get an order to something your commander wouldn't have line of sight on, but another unit does have line of sight on, which is where most of the usefulness comes in. Grenades are a fun way to buff your shooting. The only downside is most of these are range 1. Impact Grenade gives you Impact 1, letting any trooper get a little bit of anti-armor. Sonic Imploder gives extra suppression, which is useful against a lot of mainline trooper units. Smoke Grenades gives you mobile cover once per game, which is also super useful depending on the layout of the board and objective type. Fragmentation Grenades give Surge crit and have 1 red dice. Very fun to add to closer range units that don't already have it. EMP Droid Poppers give Ion 1 to your attack pool, which is a very good anti-vehicle buff that can shut down enemy vehicles. That's really cheap right now point-wise. Concussion Grenades just let you ignore cover. They're simple, they're straightforward, and they prevent the enemy from getting a couple free saves, which, depending on your unit, honestly, the biggest downside of it is range 1, but it can still be useful and pay for itself pretty quickly. And the bonus round! Just the emplacement generator cards I didn't cover with the emplacements when I covered them because I was foolish and forgot about them. Overcharged Generator adds Impact 1 to your emplacement attack pool, making it that much better against vehicles. And Barrage Generator is amazing as it gives out even more suppression and deters trooper units from getting too close to your units. And these are mostly for emplacement units with fixed guns. And the final roundup on this already brief video. Next time we'll be covering the remainder of these upgrade cards. Hopefully you discovered something new from this part that you can apply to your army building. And after next week's part 2, there will be a discussion on the current meta, as I'm hoping by then the new points update will be out. Thank you all for watching. I apologize for the slightly shorter video. This week has been insane for me personally, and getting it all under control has taken a lot more time than I thought. I am happy I managed to get any video out at all. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed, leave a like, comment, and subscribe. I'll be getting back to my normal upload schedule next week. Hopefully life doesn't hit me again like this anytime soon, and have a wonderful day, and a wonderful weekend, and a wonderful week all.